This is John Young with DJNTV coming to you tonight, Thursday night, with our Thursday night session. I've got a lot of great information for you tonight I want to share with you, and we're going to end with an interview that I did last week at Mobile Beat Las Vegas with, well, we'll talk about that in a little bit. First off, one of the cool things that happened last week at Mobile Beat Las Vegas is the educational seminars that were going on with Chauvet DJ Academy. There were education going on everywhere. There were main seminar rooms, some of the skyboxes had some different things, and one of the neat things is, of course, the Chauvet DJ Academy, which is all about education. ChauvetDJAcademy.com, you can check that out. But what you're seeing right here is a list of the 7 seminars that were shown in that room. There were 8 actually, but one of them just didn't turn out because there was just so much noise. 7 of them came out that you can actually hear and turn out really well. These are the free seminars that were given. You've got some great information here. You've got Randy Bartlett, you've got Jeremy Breck doing lighting, Mikey Mike talking about Dancing on the Clouds, Jeff Green, just a lot of great stuff. Randy Bartlett, if I mentioned him, if not, well, then they've just done it twice. Randy Bartlett, 3 times. Anyway, this is the content. This is a playlist on our YouTube page. You can find these videos if you go to DJNTV.com. You can see them at the top. You go to youtube.com/discjockeynews, playlist, they were there. So free content, great stuff. You're going to learn. This is the kind of stuff you get at DJ conventions. You watch these, use some of this information. I mean, there's gold here, literally gold. I listen to these and there's great information. Take that, become more profitable, and we'll see you next year at Mobile Beat Las Vegas. So that was one of the cool things last week. Then at the in the exhibit hall, the Disc Jockey News had something we call our Cheesy Palooza 2. Cheesy Palooza 2 is basically getting up there and doing your best cheesy DJ thing. Yeah.
Hi there.
So
I'm DJ Tina. Thanks for coming.
Yeah. This is
I
Bill
feel real
Herman.
pretty, so what else you want? Get a load of this. Quit undressing me with your eyes.
He's pretty.
I'm a pretty girl.
We're just going to keep going. That's Bill Herman being a little cheesy. What you need to do if you want to be involved with this contest. We did it there. We had a lot of people sign up. But the contest, to be involved with it, you need to do something like, well, maybe not like that. That's kind of scary and creepy. But you got to send me a video of you getting in a microphone and being a little cheesy, being a little silly. It doesn't have to be great. It doesn't have to be super cheesy. It just has to be you doing something on a microphone that's fun, making maybe a little fun of whatever. We're going to take all the submissions, the ones from the show and the ones that are sent up to us. Now, we've got a couple that have been sent up to us, but we need to have more because we want to have a really cool, set of these. What we're going to do is just throw all those names in a hat. We're going to randomly draw. And one person is going to get to come to the Disc Jockey News Conclave in November. That's November 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. You're going to come up here. We're going to fly you up here. We're going to get your hotel room, and we're going to get you a show pass. So basically, if you can make peanut butter sandwiches, stick them in your bag, come up here, you could technically come to the DJ convention for free. So it's pretty cool. The way you do it, you cut your video. It can be anywhere from 10 seconds to 20 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute. Not too long, but keep it short, fun. This could be a cell phone. I mean, literally, you could just shoot it like this and go, "Hey, this is me being cheap," whatever. Have some fun with it. Get me the video. If you put it up on YouTube, send me the link. If you want to send it right directly to me, if it's short enough or small enough to email, yay. If it's over 10 meg, you can't email that. Get it to me, john@discjockeynews.com. Email me. We'll figure a way to get it with Dropbox or something. But usually YouTube is probably the best way. Send me the link. We'll get you in a drawing. That's Cheesy Palooza 2 with the Disc Jockey News. And again, if you have nightmares because of DJ Tina there, I'm sorry. It could have been a bad idea. So another big thing that happened last week at the convention was, let me show you this. This is Berenice Chauvet. She is the vice president of the Chauvet DJ Corporation, and the gentleman in the picture is Sid Vanderpool from DJ Chat, and Berenice was awarded the Lifetime Achievement Award. We're going to be doing an interview with Berenice to talk more about the history behind Chauvet DJ, her involvement, her life. It's an incredible story. I've talked to Berenice a few times, and really, it's a neat story, gang, of how it started and where they come and how they put together their team. So congratulations to Berenice for the Lifetime Achievement Award. Keep an eye out for this because in March you're going to be seeing the interview. And again, it'll be great information. You're going to love it because it's, wonderful stuff. So So we've covered that. The final thing that we're going to do tonight, if you have questions, by the way, you can put them in the comments below. A lot of the questions that we get, we handle on Sunday night, and we'll be doing an episode Sunday night with some questions. We've got a couple already in the hopper, but if you've got something that you're wondering about, what I do is I get the questions. I generally ask some experts if there's a need for that, if it's something, and then we talk about it on Sunday night. If it's the right situation, we bring someone in and we talk about it together, whatever works. So if you've got a question, anything in DJ industry, put it in the comments below. Put it, email it to me at john@discjockeynews.com. Whatever you need to do, so we can deal with that. Finally, the way we're going to end tonight. This is going to be a short episode tonight. I didn't want to go super long. What we're going to do is I'm going to show you an interview that I did last week at Mobile Beat Las Vegas 18 with Ken Day. Ken Day, of course, is a very well-known DJ in the wedding industry. He's from San Diego. He is, if you've seen some of his seminars, he's spoken in across the United States. He's been into the UK. He's an author. He's written for the Disc Jockey News. He does a lot of our video reporting with the different things down in. Very knowledgeable guy. He's out there. And one of the things he's been doing recently has been talking about officiating, DJs officiating weddings. More DJs are, we've been doing the dance forever. Then we kind of progressed to the dinner and dance. Then we progressed to ceremony, dinner, and ceremony sound, and then maybe doing. Now Ken is exploring and working with the officiating side of it. And of course, for some of us, it's kind of scary. So I asked him about some of those things in the questions. So we're going to go to that. I think we've got Ken right here. This is John Young with the Disc Jockey News, and I have my good friend Ken Day with me here today. Ken, one of the things that we've talked about at Conclave and different things is this whole trend of DJs really getting into officiating and doing some things with that. Now you've been doing that for quite a while.
A little over 7 years.
Holy cats! So, kind of for those who are interested, let's just start at the basics. What officiating in the DJ world? What's involved to get started in something like that?
Well, a lot of it is really, of course, you can go 4 to 6 years through seminary, get traditionally ordained, pay for all that college time. Most everywhere in the country, you can go online to Universal Life Church, and there's some other ones, but Universal Life Church is probably the biggest one. Spend 5 minutes, pay $39, and you are ordained to be recognized most places. The benefit for DJs is that when you're meeting with your couples, you can let them know, I am ordained. And just in case your officiant is super late or something happens or just doesn't show up for one reason or another, you can legally step in and perform the ceremony. So one thing I had always done when I was just on the DJ role, being ordained, I would always ask the officiant, can I get a copy of the ceremony just to have, in case, not to share with the bride and groom, just to have it just in case. Inevitably they would send it to me and I could have that. Sometimes it was just going through the order during the rehearsal, and then actually if need be, would utilize that for the ceremony if something happened. In all that time, I never really had to do that. Prior, I had a couple of times we had issues with the officiant, and everybody's scrambling trying to find somebody to perform the ceremony so the day wasn't ruined. That was always very stressful for everyone. And after being ordained and being able to step in and do that, it was a lot better process because you could just step in.
Sure.
And that peace of mind for the bride and groom really made the difference. So that definitely helped for the DJ business, just letting them know you were more to them and more valuable to them than just the DJ.
Sure. So now a person is ordained, and as you're talking, the stepping in, how much work is it to put together that ceremony? I mean, if you're getting a script from someone, you have to step in, that's one thing. But now if it's yours, they're hiring you. What's involved with putting that together?
It's pretty extensive, and you have to do a lot of research, and there are the variables for all the different religious elements, if they even want any religious elements involved, and then trying to structure it so it's long enough. I always try to make mine at least 20 minutes long, no longer than 35 minutes long. less than 20, guests feel slighted. Longer than 35, they're wondering when it's going to be over. So that's kind of a sweet spot for the ceremony, and I've actually created a formula for creating, based on the print, text, and the number of pages, to make it right at about 21 minutes.
Okay.
Based on that, and then I can extend as need be for if they want to incorporate different elements.
Oh, nice.
So creating that takes a lot, and my approach is very different from the standard officiant. Coming from the DJ world, I understand effective showmanship.
Sure.
Not showing up the bride and groom, but creating an environment that is more meaningful. The family and friends feel like they're participating in a ceremony.
Oh, nice.
At least emotionally,
Yeah.
if not physically, and not just observing it or waiting for it to be over so they can get to the party.
Sure.
So there are a lot of ways you can do that, but I put together an entire program to really solidify those elements and getting to know the couples.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And I can see where that would be helpful, because I actually performed a couple of renewal where they renewed their vows, and in one where they were actually married the night before, and we did it out at a remote location. And finding the information, I mean, that was tough. And I would, not that I was ordained or anything, but just to find the script and some outlines, that's not really out there.
right, and the ones that are out there is the same thing that most officiants are doing. Is they're taking their idea of personalizing a ceremony is, these are the 2 or 3 ceremonies I do.
Yeah.
Which one would you like your name
A,
plugged
B, or
into?
C. Yeah.
Right, so that's really not personalizing. For me, we start from scratch. I give them a ton of homework. Inevitably, I'll have one side of the family or guests come up to me and ask me how I'm related to one or the other.
Nice.
Which is really great.
Yes.
And then for those that understand that I was hired for that, they'll come up and let me know that the ceremony was so perfectly the bride and groom.
Well,
So
very
their
nice.
personality and style, and that's what I strive for, and I've really developed this program to be able to do that.
Cool.
So
Cool. So when you're talking about the program now, you mentioned it's on a disc.
it's on a disc. It's a host of information that takes all this research that I've done over the years and coming up with these formulas to create meaningful, sentimental, lighthearted, depending on the couple.
Right.
So it really suits them and their personality and style. And the way I structure the ceremony, it genuinely is not about me.
Right.
Just one example of that is me not staying in the traditional position. I'll start there and then I move.
Right.
There's nothing to say you can't. Their photos look great. They look great. Photographer doesn't have to try to crop you out. You don't have a silly look on your face inadvertently when they're doing their first kiss or
Precisely. And that's a big one. I've never understood why it's always bride and groom and right there, when, especially the one location we did at Itasca State Park, if you're familiar with that, headwaters of the Mississippi, beautiful wooded area, and the backdrop was over the lake and the trees. It was a typical, pastor would have been bridegroom, that, and then the beauty behind, and you would have had him in the picture.
Right.
And I think that's where our DJ, our staging and wanting to give the bride and groom, make them the stars, not
make
us.
them the focus.
Make
Right.
them the focus really comes out. So little tips like that. I mean, that's gold. The bride and groom that I work for, they've shared that picture of them up there. We're doing the rings in front of in the lake, because they would have never gotten that shot. So
Right.
experience teaches
Well, and
us
that's
a lot.
that's a DJ experience, and the great thing is you'll talk. We as DJs have seen hundreds, if not thousands, of officiants. The good, the bad, the really ugly. There's some pretty bad ones, and and there are some good ones. But you can take those elements. But 99.9% of officiants stay in that traditional position, and there's so many elements for us as entertainers that we can employ and really make a dynamic ceremony. The great thing is that because of how we do things, it means that we know there can be variables.
Yeah.
There's not just one way to do it. So based on my conversations with couples and things like that, you can change things up.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is if you talk to 5 officiants and ask them how many other officiants they've seen perform a ceremony, usually
1 or 2, if they are.
1, 2, maybe 3 if you're lucky.
Yeah.
But talk to a DJ that it's their benefit to get ordained. How many officiants have you seen?
Oh, yeah.
And so you can employ a lot of that information into how you perform. So it's really beneficial.
So now in your little packet that you put together, you've got some scripts, some sample scripts.
Sample scripts, the questionnaire for the bride, the questionnaire for the groom. I keep them separate.
Yep.
I don't want them reading each other's answers. I never share the ceremony with the bride and groom in its entirety because I don't want them just standing up there critiquing. Is that the next thing he was supposed to say?
Right. Yeah.
We want everyone listening, the guests and the bride and groom wedding party, listening for the moment.
Yeah.
Listening for the information, the words, the meaning. Mm-hmm. It works a lot better that way.
I can imagine.
So those questionnaires are in there. Some of the legal aspects. You mentioned you did a ceremony for a couple that was actually married the night before.
Yeah.
Well, a legal ramification that most people really don't think about when you're doing a ceremony for a couple that is actually already married. Well, if they haven't told any of their family and you perform that, you've set yourself up for the potential in our litigious society to be sued because you misrepresented to the family and friends that you were performing their actual ceremony.
Yes.
So there's a simple form in this package that you have the bride and groom sign saying that they know they're already married and that this is just a celebration
and that's
of their wedding.
And that's exactly what the bride and groom in the case of what I did is they wanted to make sure that everybody knew they were married the night before at the courthouse, but this was a exchanging of the ring celebration is what they referred to it as, and it worked well.
And in my market, very often military couples, they'll get married just so they can have all those benefits in place, and later when it's more convenient, they can have the celebration.
Nice.
Ceremony.
Nice.
So.
Now you mentioned earlier, and this is where the religious, it used to be in our parents' generation,
right?
Everything was done in the church, and now things are changing with that. What have you found out with some of the couples when it comes to some of the religious components of the ceremony?
Right. Most of the couples that come to me, they're not heavily religious. They might or might not attend church. Their parents usually are the ones, and we discuss that, how much they would like to incorporate into their ceremony to make their parents happy and comfortable, yet not taking away from what their beliefs are as a couple. So we go through those different aspects, and again, in the questionnaire, those elements are discussed so that we can figure out what is going to be best for that.
Right.
The prime example is I had a bride that her mother was a devout and devoted and very much a church-going Catholic mom.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And she was upset that they were getting married in a church that was no longer active and they weren't being married by a priest. Yet the bride and the groom were not very religious, but they wanted to accommodate mom to some degree.
Sure.
With my background and experience, I was able to tell her, we're going to do a brief blessing at the beginning of the ceremony that will bless the marriage. It'll kind of be innocuous. She did not want to have the mention of Jesus Christ or God, but we could kind of allude to that.
Okay.
So the simple solution, and it's really kind of funny, and all the Catholics will understand this, is that I would say at the beginning, I started with, we're going to have a blessing for this marriage.
Yep.
May the Lord be with you. And all the Catholics responded with, and also with you.
Yeah.
So that was a gratifying element for our mom. And then afterwards, she said it was a perfect wedding ceremony and that it really suited their personalities and it was great.
Nice.
So, little things like that can really make a big difference.
Yeah.
So it's just knowing what avenue to take to satisfy. But back to your original question is, most of the couples that come to me that aren't church affiliated really don't want any religious aspects in their ceremony, but they still want it to be meaningful.
Yeah.
Occasionally they want small little elements here and there, but most of the time they just kind of want a middle of the road, not very religious, but very meaningful to them, and will have some meaning to their guests. And the way I approach a ceremony is It's their public expression of love and commitment for each other.
Yeah.
But everyone there are people they invited. They know the couple, they know their personalities, and they kind of expect something of their personalities to come through.
Right. Yeah.
So that's what I strive to garner from them in meetings to figure out how we're going to facilitate that.
Yeah. Very neat. Very neat. If someone wants to order the set of the discs of information, where would they go, or how would they get a hold of you?
They can shoot me an email at info@kennethdayweddings.com, and that's plural. So info@kennethdayweddings.com.
And if that doesn't work, you can always send an email to kenday@discjockeynews.com, because of course Ken Day is also one of our video correspondents covering different DJ events
Here and there.
around the Southwest. So thank you, Ken. Thanks for coming in and talking about the whole concept of doing officiating at weddings.
And there's so much more. Get a hold of me. I'm happy to share.
Sounds great. Thank you much.
Thanks.
This is John Young with the Disc Jockey News. So that was Ken Day. A lot of great information there for those of you who have toyed around with the idea. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight on that. And I've got to shut that off because it's echoing for me. Good stuff. Ken Day at discjockeynews.com will get an email to Ken and talk to him, find out more information about it. You know what? Just you can ask a couple of questions. There's not a huge expense in finding out about it, but it might be something that it can become lucrative. I know many DJs who are doing officiating, and they have an assistant, the ceremony, they do the whole thing, and they are making pretty good money. Literally, I know some that have gotten away from DJing and are just basically doing officiating and ceremony, and they're home by 5 o'clock. Yeah, for those of us who are getting a little longer in the, a little older in the industry, that could be a cool thing. So again, Ken Day at discjockeynews.com. We'll get you there. So coming up Sunday night, we'll be answering questions. We're going to be fielding questions, a couple of them, specifically about DJ conferences. A lot of people, every time a convention comes through, a lot of people are always asking about, why can't we be in that hotel? Or because you go down there and they're always complaining about some things. I'm going to address some of the common things that we talk about, because you've got the Disc Jockey News, we do a conclave. You've got DJ Times that does the DJ Expo. You've got Mobile Beat that does the Las Vegas show. You've got the ADJ that does the Las Vegas show down there also. Robbie down in Greenville, they do theirs. So it's the ARM DJ one. So there's quite a few shows out there, but there's some similarities, and there's some, I don't want to call them misconceptions, but probably for some people they are. Sunday we're going to address that because I want to cover some of the things, because what ends up happening in many cases is we unintentionally cause more problems for the show than and make it more difficult for the shows to become good, for lack of a better way to describe it. So that'll be Sunday night. Next week is kind of a cool week, because next Thursday we will not be having anything, because I will be down at the ADJ headquarters. Next Thursday, we're going to be down there shooting video. A lot of you have asked when we've shown different lighting fixtures, you want to see not only what it does up there, you want to see what it does on the floor or on the wall, what have you. Well, we're going to go right to the headquarters. We're going to spend time looking at individual fixtures, what it does on the floor, what it looks like from 10 feet away, from 20 feet away. We're going to get that to you so you can look at that, and we're going to put they're going to be shooting hours of video, getting that condensed down. So next Thursday, we will not have a live segment streaming, because we're going to be working to bring you stuff for the following week. So Sunday night, we'll see you live. Questions, make sure you put them in the comments below, or email them to john@discjockeynews.com, and we'll deal with them Sunday night. Have a good evening.